Hello guys and welcome. So in this video I wanted to answer the question, what is Final Fantasy VII? This is about the original game, not the remake. So Final Fantasy VII is a role-playing game that was developed by Square and it came out in 1997 on PlayStation 1. I say Square because it wasn't Square Enix back then, it used to be Squaresoft. Square Enix was formed of the merger between Squaresoft and Enix in 2003. So it happened after. So at the time it was Squaresoft. And this game follows the adventures of Cloud Strife, the eco group. I don't want to say the words for demonetization reasons, who are fighting against the Shinra Corporation, who are farming the life force of the planet in order to make energy. So they're trying to stop that. But there is a lot to this game. It's huge. So as this game really has a well thought out story and a lot of depth, it's been just over the years since 1997. It has not been forgotten at all. You know, it's like it's developed into many things. So what I just showed you was the trailer of it coming out on PlayStation 4. Because I couldn't find any good footage of the original game that was good enough quality to show you. Now I'm going to be showing you the intro movie of Crisis Core. So what Crisis Core is, it's a PSP game. So it came out on PlayStation PSP, which was a prequel to Final Fantasy VII. So when you look into the story of Final Fantasy VII, I'm trying basically not to give too many spoilers. I don't want to give too many spoilers in this. When you look at the story, there's a lot of things that happen during the story of Final Fantasy VII where you're kind of almost confused, and you're kind of like, did that actually happen? Did that really happen? And so on. So Crisis Core was designed to give you more of an insight into what happened before the main events of Final Fantasy VII generally. So now, for example, the main character Cloud Strife, he uses the Buster Sword. You find out in Crisis Core where he gets it from. The Buster Sword is actually originally Zack's property, who is the main protagonist of Crisis Core, and he is also mentioned in the main game of Final Fantasy VII. But it's interesting to see. I really enjoyed Crisis Core. I thought it was a fantastic game for PSP. It's like the most fun game on PSP that I ever had. I wish that they would remake it and remaster it for other consoles, but I just don't think Square Enix has any intention to. So, and the Night Sky Prince, he did make an entire video talking about that bit, about why Square Enix will never remaster this game, which if they never do, I think it's a real shame. I really do, because it was absolutely fantastic. So now the general premise is that Soldier are the elite task force of the Shinra Corporation. So they actually work for Shinra. So that's the thing, and they're sort of like they police and protect Shinra's interests around the world. Now the world is called Gaia, just so you know. Now in this world, essentially, there's life force, and you see it represented by the life stream, which is the wavy greenish lines, and also there are many aspects to the game as well. IGN did a fantastic video where they explained the entire story of Final Fantasy VII in 7 minutes. So I am going to link all of that in the description below. So remember, guys, when I make these What Is videos, I try my best to link as many useful resources as possible to as many anything that might get you interested in this game or any of the game. Now, the issue with Final Fantasy VII, it's an entire universe, just like Final Fantasy 15 was. They've expanded the story and expanded it. There's had many iterations. So, and in fact, one of the other things that they did was they released a movie, which was a sequel to the Final Fantasy VII story. So there's been many things. So after this is finished, then we will look into the Advent Children trailer. Now, I can't express enough how memorable this game is and the whole franchise of Final Fantasy VII, because it is one of the most successful games, not just for Square Enix or Squaresoft at the time, but PlayStation generally. So, Final Fantasy VII has sold to date more than 11 million copies. It makes it one of the most successful games ever, especially on PlayStation. I think the only game that ever outsold it was Gran Turismo on PlayStation 1. But since then, it's just grown and grown and grown and grown. So we will see as well how Final Fantasy VII Remake is received. So the footage you're seeing right now is the trailer for Advent Children. Advent Children, like I said, is based after the events of Final Fantasy VII. It explores the issue of people being infected by the sort of a disease from the live stream. So, the live stream, sorry, not live stream. So basically, they are working and doing their best to stop this poison from spreading and affecting so many people. Now, going into a little bit further, like believe me, I can talk about this all day. This game is unbelievable. So, what basically happened is that a meteor thousands of years ago crashed into the world, and it brought with it the cells or the being which is known as Genova. So, Genova, as was featured very heavily in Final Fantasy VII, is alien as far as anyone is concerned. Now, Genova as well, the cells of Genova were used to create Sephiroth. So, and that delves into it a little bit. By saying that, I've missed out so much. So that's why I really recommend to look at the 7-minute summary that IGN did. Now, Sephiroth, well, and his sword, the really long sword, which is called the Masamune sword, he was a basically famous soldier in the soldier army for Shinra. But what he finds out during his time of working for Shinra and so on was his origin, the fact that he was created, where he might be come from, and it makes him feel that he's got more of a right to everything than like what was given to him. So he is working and doing his absolute best in order to not only to claim what he feels is his throne, but also to just it's really difficult for me to explain this without spoilers. I tell you what, I'll say no more. It's basically he is motivated by the origins of what he's discovered about himself and where he's come from. Now, what was actually chronologically after Advent Children was the Dirge of Cerberus, even though the game itself came out before Advent Children. So Dirge of Cerberus it follows the story of one of the main characters of Final Fantasy VII called Vincent. Now, Vincent was also created, but he's got vampiric-like abilities. I don't really want to say more than that, but he was assigned to protect something, which again, spoiler. God, this is like one of the hardest what is videos I've ever had to make. That's for sure. But that's Vincent there with the red cape and so on. Now, what they also did, and they also released before all of this chronologically, was a mobile game called Before Crisis. So Before Crisis Core is, as far as anyone's concerned, it's the first of the story of Final Fantasy VII. So yeah. Now, what can I tell you guys? Like, Final Fantasy VII has been a colossal success for Square Enix. It has touched the heart of so many people around the world, and people are very much looking forward to Final Fantasy VII Remake, which is going to come out on the 20th of April 2020. I'm also going to link in the description my What Is video for Final Fantasy VII Remake. I had to just make that separately. I couldn't put it in with this. So essentially, guys, what can I tell you? This game is fantastic. Check out Final Fantasy VII if you haven't already. Like I said, this video is aimed at people who don't know about Final Fantasy VII. If you've played it and you have completed it, check out the 7-minute summary that IGN did. It's fantastic. It summarizes the story very concisely, precisely, and very well. A lot of aspects you might not have even realized playing through the main game. And also as well, the main characters of Final Fantasy VII are just so memorable. You have Cloud, you have Tifa, you have Barret, you have Red 13, you have Yuffie, you have obviously Sephiroth. He's one of the most famous villains in any video game ever. So yeah. So let me know in those comments down below. Do you like Final Fantasy VII? When did you first play it? Like, I did play it back in 1997, back in the day. I'm that old. So it was the first Final Fantasy game I ever played. I never played Final Fantasy 1 to 6. So Final Fantasy 7 was my first. And yeah, I am very much looking forward to Final Fantasy 7 remake as well. So yeah, and one last note. Since then, because Final Fantasy VII has such a sort of almost cult following, people these days, when they play the original game, they mod the hell out of it. Like, there is so many mods that you can install for the original Final Fantasy VII to improve the graphics, to add a randomizer to the fights. There's a hard mode for the game called New Threat, which makes it very, very tough, and so on. So, as I say, guys, it's a fantastic game. There's a whole world around it. It's only getting bigger, especially with Final Fantasy VII Remake. And Final Fantasy VII Remake is just the first of the remakes. It only covers the first, as far as anyone's concerned, the first intro section of the actual main game. So we will see if there is a Remake 2 and a Remake 3. We'll see how... I think it's dependent on how well Remake goes, if they're going to invest the time to do the rest of the game. But we have to just wait and see. We don't know. And we'll see as well for the future how the compatibility with PlayStation 5 works and so on. Now, Sony does not own Square Enix. Like, some people might have that impression. They don't. They have something like an 8 to 9% stake in Square Enix, and that's it. But because of their strong relationship, that's why they give a lot of exclusivity to PlayStation, because of how strong their relationship is. But Square Enix have released plenty of games on Nintendo, so like, don't think that the strong relationship between PlayStation and Square Enix is forced, let's say. Also, as well, a lot of the people who were behind the main game of the original Final Fantasy VII are actually involved with the remake. So yeah, and what I would also recommend is I'm going to link to a couple of reaction videos by people like Maximilian Dude, because their passion towards the game has actually influenced the developers. So it's not just a good reaction, it's like it has actually influenced the developers. So I do really appreciate that. So yeah. So anyway, guys, like I said, I could talk about this game all day. Final Fantasy VII, very, very special to me and to a lot of people. So please check it out if you haven't already. And I hope the resources I put in the description below will be useful for everyone. So anyway, guys, that's it for this video. Thank you for watching. If you liked it, be sure to give it a thumbs up. You can watch a random video over there. You can watch the latest upload down there. Or you can click down here to subscribe. Thank you, guys. Bye-bye.